Now, as I said before, today is about siblings, but you've got to have the siblings together. So we have Katie and Jessica who are going to come up here and have a chat to us about their lives with cystic fibrosis and the roles they played and how it changed their lives for the best. Come on over. One right there. Nope, it's on. There you go.
Thanks, Nancy. Can everyone hear me? Hello. Thanks. Thank you, Nettie, and thank you, Minister. So yes, I was invited here to speak about what it's like to have a sibling with CF. Well, I don't really know what it's not like to have a sibling with CF because I'm the younger of two sisters in my family. So I've known about CF since I was born. It's never been a strange concept to me. This is my lovely big sister, Katie, by the way. But as a little kid, you don't really understand what the concept of CF actually means. As you get older, and still now I'm still learning what CF actually is and what the implications of CF are as well. They're pretty enormous. They have daily implications on my sister's life and all of our lives. They have implications on time out of Katie's day every day and on Katie's lifetime as well. They have psychological implications on all of us as well as a family, which I'm sure Judith will be able to tell us more about, maybe some insights into what's going on with me. So for me, having a sibling with CF is my normal. It was normal as kids to hear Mum and Dad giving Katie physio every day, that sound of them giving her percussion, trying to clear the mucus out from her lungs. It was normal for me to watch her do hours worth of nebulizers and puffers every day. It was normal to see every time Katie ate, her having to take a pile of 10 or more tablets with every meal. That didn't seem unusual to me at all. It's normal still now for Katie and myself to laugh hysterically about something and then need to pause for 5 minutes while she coughs and coughs before we can enjoy the joke again. It was normal that we weren't allowed bubble blowing liquid or that slimy Play-Doh stuff called GAC, which we really, really wanted, but yes, we did. We just weren't allowed to have things like that because they would possibly harbour too much bacteria and risk giving Katie some sort of infection. Most kids don't have to worry about that kind of thing, and we really just wanted the darn GAC.
Still do.
Yes. So when I got older, I realised that CF isn't really normal at all. It takes a huge chunk out of Katie's day, which I was used to seeing, but it's not a normal lifestyle thing. Just for her to have the energy to go to work or to cook dinner or to clean the house, which are all the things I grumble about having to do, she has to work hard to be able to do. I wanted to assist with that burden as much as I could, so it's now normal for me to hit my sister. I mean constructively by giving her physio, although when we were teenagers there was that one time. But what I'm talking about is giving my sister physio. So my parents and my sister have shown me the different techniques, so when we go on family trips and things like that, I can help Katie out and give everyone's arms a break because it is quite taxing on the wrists. It also happens that unfortunately I have a terrible aversion to mucus. I don't know if that's bad luck or if it's some sort of link to the stress of cystic fibrosis, but I can change a nappy, I can do any of that kind of thing, but unfortunately I don't deal with mucus well, which comes up a lot when you have a relative with CF, quite literally. But if there's one person's mucus, I'll cope with yours, Katie, because I love you. Katie does go into hospital sometimes, and it's normal for me to pop in and give her an extra physio session just to try and help her out, and because some of the physios in the hospital aren't quite sure how to do physio for someone with CF because it is so specific. Speaking of hospital, it was normal for me to see Katie go into hospital sometimes when we were kids, and it seems normal. Sorry. I knew this would happen. It seems normal that sometimes became every now and again, then it became once every couple of years, then it became once a year, and now maybe it's, a bit more often than once a year. Sorry. Last time this year was for 3 weeks. It's pretty crap seeing someone you love in hospital for 3 weeks and having to put on a gown and gloves and a hat and a mask just to go in and say hello. It's worse when she has to go to Sydney because there's no beds in Canberra. She just doesn't have time to wait, because then I can't even pop in to see her. I can just call and text. So I do what I can. It's normal for me to, when I do go and see her, to talk about work and the usual boring life stuff, and then try and act like it's all cool, and then cry in my car on the way home because I don't want her to see how worried about her I am. Sorry. Every time Katie gets sick, it's a permanent step backwards. It's not like when I get a cold, I get better, I go back to normal. It's always a slight decline from before, so that weighs on you a lot. And it weighs on me thinking about how it would feel for Katie as well. Having a loved one with CF, it's a bit like when you're at uni and you haven't started your report yet. And you're like, oh, I'll do that report later, it's not due for ages. But you go out and you try to have fun and you just have in the back of your mind, oh, I haven't written that report. It's always something hovering over you, that never goes away. I wonder, how long will she be as well as she is? Will she one day have access to a medication that will help her? Will that medication ever exist? What's her life expectancy? Last time I heard the life expectancy for someone with CF is 37. Katie turns 35 this year, so you don't want to really be in your 30s and starting to worry about this kind of thing. It's too soon. But we're actually among the lucky people to be in our 30s worrying about this kind of thing with CF. Kay and I have this plan that when we're old and past our prime, we're going to let ourselves go and get fat and live together and just laugh at ourselves and live it up. We talk about it all the time, and I really hope that we can fulfill our goal one day. She works really hard to stay well, and she is relatively well, so I like to think that we will fulfill that goal, but you don't know with CF. It's not really fair that she does have to work so hard just to be well every day. And we try to help where we can. I try to help where I can, but there's not a lot I can do. It's mostly on her. It's a great burden for her to have to bear every day, and it's a bit of a burden for me to see as well, but it can't compare. So yeah, that's my normal. That's what it's like for me having a sibling with CF. Thanks.
So I've been introduced better than I thought I'd be. I'll cut some of my bits out because I was going to tell the story about us getting old and fat together as well. We both came up. We really do go back to that one. It's one of our dreams. Outlive the husbands, fill out the wrinkles, indulge ourselves to death. Yes. Yeah. I wouldn't be as well as I am without Jessica. Especially in adulthood. We've always been close, but in adulthood we've become much closer. And health and fitness is one of the things we've actually connected over. I used to have a job as a receptionist in a gym, and we discovered weight training together, and that was 10 years ago now, and ever since then we motivate each other, we cajole each other. Sometimes our motivation is vain. I've still got to get my figure back after my last admission, and sometimes it's noble. But it's easier to stick to things like that when you're well. It's easier to do a good physio when you're well. And when you're unwell, it just becomes, it's very tiring. Your energy levels are low, you haven't got as much oxygen in your blood, inflammation is exhausting. So summoning up the willpower to actually stick to it, to do a decent physio, to still go to the gym. I mean, most people when they're sick take a day off. I really shouldn't do that. I sometimes do. I couldn't do it without Jessica there to sort of talk me out of my funks and, remind me that she's got an event coming up in 4 weeks and she really needs to get her glute training on. Yeah. And even when I'm in hospital, her support keeps me going. So when I was in Sydney for my last admission, even though she couldn't visit, she sent up some gift vouchers to the Iconic that were very nice. I did spend my gym gear. And this time she bought me a $15 hoodie from Big W that was a size 16, so it was like a blanket that kept me warm and reminded me of just the snugginess of home while I was there, and the food was disgusting and I got pouring cream to put on my cold porridge every morning. Yeah. I think as well, because CF uses up a lot of your reserves, I can be quite an emotional person. So by the time you've done all your physio and you've done all the admin and you've worried about, you know, your blood sugar, your airway clearance, whether you've picked up all your scripts, whether you've got any repeats left, the energy you've got left for the usual stuff of life, like, you know, how the cat's faring, how your partner's doing, if his job hunt's going okay, is a bit on the low side. And Jessica cops a lot of the burden of talking me out of my emotional funks. She does it very well, and yes, we're always there for each other. We are always very aware that we might not get to live that dream, and I probably will abandon her at some point through this journey. And that makes me feel both incredibly guilty for piking out on her after working so hard. Every time I don't do a physio as well as I should, which does happen, I feel guilty, and I think of Jess and I think of my family. Yes, but I do hope that between us we'll be able to have a few years left. And it's not always doom and gloom. So this year there are season passes to Perisher involved, and we plan to ski a lot. And with my lung function where it is, hovering around 50%, I can still ski down the hills, but sometimes I need help carrying my skis up the hill. So at the moment, it's working quite well. Yeah.